Are we ready?
Let's do it. Oh my God.
This is crazy.
I know, right?
This is crazy.
Here we are, baby.
All right, I didn't put any pasties on the nips. So Marv, if they slip, let me know. Because we're gonna have to charge extra. Nah.
They can. Yeah. I love you, girl.
Yes. Woo. Ooh, let me not make the mic hot. What is really good, everybody? We are back in studio at Bravery Studios, New Jersey's #1 podcast recording studio, with another episode of Act Up with me, Alana J. Okay. I'm so excited to be here. I'm always excited to be here, but I'm extra excited to be here today because the person, the man of the hour, who is with me on the red couch today, y'all. This man means so much to me. Literally you resuscitated me, I feel. Wow. Back to life. Back in the day when we used to live together. I'm just gonna tell you who he is, okay? We don't need that much suspense. We do go way back. He is a singer, an actor, a former K-pop star, honey. Yes. He be content creating. I swear to God, he travels the world to be creating continents, y'all. Ladies and gentlemen, there's none of those here. It is Frankie DaPonte, y'all.
Damn, that is the best intro I've ever gotten. So
yes.
Thank you.
That's what I'm here to do,
That's
you know?
That's my girl.
That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to massage egos. And,
Keep massaging.
I love it. More pressure? Too much pressure. Okay, no pressure. We're going to do this first segment.
Let's do it. I know. I've seen you do it, so I'm excited to be a part of it.
Palabras. You know what time it is. Marv is putting a minute on the Clizock. Ready?
Here we go.
In 3, 2, 1. Sunshine.
Life.
Flavor.
Salty.
Ooh. Instrument.
Piano.
Glove.
Tight.
Expectation.
But every day.
Village.
Family.
Food.
Too much of it.
Exchange.
Energy.
Love that. Condition.
Unlimited.
Ooh. Theater.
Applause.
Toast.
Burnt.
Peasant.
Oh, I was going to be shady, but...
Do it! Be shady, I don't care.
My best friend.
Eric?
Yeah. I love that you know that, because we call each other peasants.
That's hilarious. That is too funny.
That's so shady.
I just
we'll
spat.
have to send him back clip.
I just spat and cried at the same time. I'm sorry, Marv. I'm gonna need to sanitize the studio when I leave because that was just too funny to me. Hi, Eric. Shout out to you.
Hey.
Listen. Somos peasants together, okay?
Okay.
All right?
Todos familia.
That's it. Birds of a feather flock together even when they peasants, okay? Peasants, pheasants. I don't know. Pheasants are birds, right?
Yes,
those are birds.
They are.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you for that.
That was fun.
I thought it's funny because you said a village, you said family. And because of the conversation we had on the way here, I thought for expectation you were going to say family. But either way, you said family. So
yeah,
it's like I know you or something.
A little something like that.
Something. All right, so now it's my turn to improvise. Now I'm going to do a minute and ask you random questions. And hold on, I need another hit. Get
that juice.
Cafecito before we do this, okay? I was at Melissa's EP release last night, and your girl was out late, but also up late because she was. I was just you know how it is after a wonderful night of art. You're just high on life.
Yeah, you want to go out and
yeah.
It was almost midnight, and you're you still out in the streets? I'm in town for a couple of days, and I was already tired by like 10.
Yes, girl.
I'm like, oh, I'm actually no, I'm back at the hotel already.
Yes, I'm like,
I was tempted.
Listen, I was acting like we were still like 25.
I know, I love it.
We're not, but
I thought we are.
I identify as a 25-year-old.
Right, exactly.
Okay. All right. Marv's got the clock ready. We got a huevo. Oh, it's a huevo clock. I like that. It's a little egg.
Huevo ranchero.
It's a little ranchero. I love huevos rancheros. My huevos are about to be rancheros. No, that's not what we're here to say. Okay, focus. Okay. In 3, 2, 1. Where is your favorite place that you visited so far, Mr. Traveler Extraordinaire?
Okay, this is really hard, but I would say the Masai Mara in Kenya was a life-changing experience.
The Masai Mara. I don't even know what that is. What's the Masai Mara in Kenya?
It's basically one of the biggest like wildlife parts of Africa where animals of all types of backgrounds live. So there's the Serengeti and then there's the Masai Mara, and basically the animals migrate from one to the other depending on season. And if you're going, I highly recommend going during the Great Migration, which happens between like July and September. And it was incredible.
Y'all, we're here to learn today. What was the favorite animal you saw at the Masai Mara?
Well, I do love a lion, king of the jungle. I saw a lion eating a zebra, and it was like, it was scary at first, but then it was actually quite fascinating.
When are you getting married?
Next year.
Yes!
I know. Wild. Here we go.
Okay, usually I try to get in way more questions, but like...
Oh, we only got 2 questions.
We got like 2.5. It's fine, but like that was mad interesting, and I learned a lot. I don't know if y'all already knew about the Masai Mara and the Serengeti and the Great Migration, but I did not. So thank you for enlightening me today.
I'm here to, enlighten. And be enlightened.
Frankie, I swear to God, every time.
I like that. That was good.
I should have left it alone. I should not have tried to have been the hype woman for that angelic sound. We are not awake. So, okay, I swear every time I'm on your story, you're in a new place.
Yeah, I've been traveling a lot. So just in general, I feel like after kind of I lived in Korea, as you know, for a couple of years, came back to the States, and then it was just kind of like this passion for seeing more of the world, connecting with people from all different backgrounds, experiencing culture, different foods, and it really has become my passion. Like, I just feel like I am growing at so much faster of a speed because of traveling. And my partner works in the aviation world as well, so that helps for sure. Getting to travel to new places, but we both just love to see and experience new places and new cultures, and it really has been the biggest gift. I'm so grateful because I know that it's not easy,
right? And
I'm very blessed in that regard. So I'm just like, whatever new place I can see, I don't care if it was like ever on my list or not. I want to see it. I want to experience it. I want to know the people. I want to have those conversations. And I feel like that's how we learn. That's how we have more compassion for each other. The way that we live here is so different than the way people live on the other side of the world. And that's how we, grow closer to each other as humans, right?
Yeah, 1,000%. And I love traveling vicariously through your content on social media. Frankie makes like amazing videos when he travels as well. So highly recommend that you give him a follow and live vicariously through his excursions.
Thank you. Yeah, I think like even sharing the content, I have a lot of, a lot of friends, family, and just like people who follow who say the same thing. They're like, please keep posting the travel content. I feel like I'm like on the trip with you. And it's become like a creative way to express myself as well. And hopefully show someone a place that they never thought of visiting and inspire them to say, I actually want to go check out that place. And they're going to have, their own experience and learn something new and grow in a way that they might have not thought. So
1,000%. So, okay, let's take it like all the way back. Let's take it all the way back.
To the day when I met you.
Well, okay, we can talk about, so Frankie and I met in an acting class.
Yes.
That's where we met. But your artistic journey starts way before that acting class. So where where did it all begin? Where did the singing begin? Where did the acting begin? Like, take us through the beginnings.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Rhode Island, Portuguese American first generation, and I grew up singing in church. Grew up Catholic, so I grew up singing in church in the choir, and then acting was, plays and musical theater in school. I was, I think it was like third grade, Alice in Wonderland. That was like the first play I did, and from there, every year I was like in the plays and finding every opportunity to be on stage, and I just loved it. That was truly where I felt the most just me,
Yes, I do. I do know.
You get it.
Do you remember what character you played in Alice in Wonderland? Just
I was page number 1.
Page number 1. I don't even know what that means.
Speaking page number 1. It was like it was like an extra basically. I had like one line.
Okay.
But I was happy. That one line came out strong.
Oh, well, yes, it did. Okay, there was an action, there was an objective, there was an intention.
Yeah,
actors get it. Okay.
It was, and I just like loved that being a part of this, team bringing this like story to life, and I thought that was the first like moment that I knew this is something I really love and want to continue doing. And then, I was always singing in front of the TV and watching different TV shows. And so from there, I just continued to act in school, do community theater. I started working with one of the local professional theaters as well, and that was really cool. And then I moved to New York to go to school. And
you went to Hofstra, correct?
I went to Hofstra.
Yes.
Yeah. But I do remember, it's funny because I was talking about this recently when I was home for Thanksgiving, that at 16, when I first got my license, my parents always supported me in terms of like, we support you, you're talented, go follow your dreams. There's not really much we can do. They didn't have the resources, like casting directors or anything like that.
You didn't have like a momager.
No, exactly.
Right.
There was kind of like, we trust you, but not me whipping my mom's minivan downtown Providence on castings I found on Craigslist. I'm like, the amount of times I probably put myself in a dangerous situation because I was just so hungry to like experience, audition and try something.
Because you were taking her car without a license?
No. I have my license.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had just turned 16. I got my license.
Oh, because in Rhode Island, you can get your license at 16.
At 16,
okay, here it's 17.
So, oh, really? Okay. And so I was, at 16 years old, going downtown Providence to a casting I found on Craigslist. It's pretty crazy, but I had the confidence. I don't know where I had that confidence from. There was like no fear. And I look back at that version of myself and I'm often inspired by him. I'm often inspired by him because I'm like, he was super bold.
Yes.
And not scared. And so even in moments now where you're like, why am I, what am I scared of? What's my fear here? Why am I struggling to tackle this thing? Whether it's diving into a new project or, and it's fear. Typically it's fear.
It is.
And so once you let go of that fear.
False evidence acting real.
Ooh, I like that.
Or fuck everything and run.
Boop.
But we want neither one of those. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah. And so that's basically it. That's how I ended up in New York. And then I was, auditioning, I was dancing at Broadway Dance Center. I was working on music and just kind of like all of it. I love to act. I love to sing. I love to dance. I always said, I was like, if I could have been in, Glee or, something like that.
Oh my God, you would have been
the
so
most
good.
Ideal experience. And also I was wanted to be in a boy band group. That was always like my thing. And then I ended up in 2.
Yes, you did. One in LA.
Yep.
Right?
That didn't work out.
And then K-pop.
Yeah, and then K-pop.
Okay, so the one in LA didn't work out for any particular reason?
It was a development deal and, we were kind of in early stages and we were all young, contracts, things got a little shady, LA.
I mean, contracts.
And so, all of it, all the above. So, so we came back. I came back to New York, finished school, and then I was kind of like, you know what? I'm just going to focus on the acting thing. I don't think I'm going to do, I like to sing, but I'm not going to pursue a career as a musical artist, And so, I was auditioning, and then I met you in acting class. And actually at that point, I was working at a rooftop in Manhattan. I was making ridiculous money for a rooftop.
This was
server.
Haven, right?
Yes. And it was just great. I was making great money, but I was like working my ass off. I was there. I was like living there, and I was like, okay, this is great. But I didn't move to New York to just do this, you know, and
to sling bottles and cocktails,
and I took a leap. I said, I'm gonna put in my 2 weeks. I'm actually if any of my old bosses are watching this. It's funny. I lied and said I had booked a new opportunity that was starting in 2 weeks because I had a great relationship with my staff there and my management, and I didn't want to kind of get talked into staying. And
that people pleasing, you didn't want.
Yeah, and I'm a people pleaser in recovery. We talked about this on the way. I'm a people pleaser in recovery. This is something I've been working on, and so I was just like, I got to create that boundary and say, you know what? I start a new opportunity in 2 weeks, and rehearsals will start. So this is my 2 weeks notice. And that was it. And I didn't. That was a lie.
Yeah.
But what happened? I manifested this. 2 weeks later, I auditioned for this music group, which was this K-pop group. And I know I'm not Korean, so I know that's a shock to most people when they hear that. But it was just like this social experimental documentary out of Colombia. And they were specifically looking for performers who were not Korean to put into this K-pop group and make a documentary about it. So 2 weeks later, I auditioned, and then I got the call like a day later, just like, we want you in this group. And I was just like, whoa, what just happened?
Yeah.
This is crazy. I literally just manifested this.
You literally did.
So, and little did I know, I thought that was only going to be like maybe a 5-6 month project, and it ended up becoming the next 5 years of my life. So
was it 5 years?
Yeah.
Holy crap. Because I remember we were living together when... Were we living together when you got into EXP or?
No, so I was in the group, and then I was also taking acting class at James Franco's Actor Studio.
Yeah.
Then I met you in acting class. We hit it off. I just fell in love with Alana right off the bat. We just had
guys, I don't know if you've been listening and watching this man speak, but I don't think I know a single person who has anything negative to say about Frankie.
Oh,
like, I'm so serious.
Don't start now.
Yeah, don't start now.
People start in the comments.
Girl, okay, keep your tea in your cup.
Yeah, you can send it in a DM.
But like genuinely, I just need to make this point that like you are the type of person that just makes people better. That's
really sweet.
That's just in your body, that's just in your DNA, like that's just who you are. Like if ever, and I know we talked about people pleasing, but beyond that, like whenever you've had something to offer someone else, I've always seen you give it, you know? Like I've seen you solve problems that were not your problem. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's
so sweet. Thank you.
I just need to say that because like living together was like one of the best things where I was at in life. Like that was one of the best gifts that the universe gave me. Like our friendship was one of the best gifts the universe gave me. And even though I haven't seen you in a while, like I have a massive place in my heart for you. And I'm getting a little misty, but it's because it's true, you know? It's because it's true.
That's likewise,
and,
you know?
Like you encouraged me to sing, like low-key, now that I have a little more vocal training, I look back on the Meghan Trainor song and I'm like, oh girl, we need to re-record that because we have more skills now. But like you brought me out of my comfort zone. You believed in me, I think, before I really believed in myself. And you didn't just talk about it, like you were about it. You know, like we created music together, we made music videos together, and nobody else would have ever taken me on that journey with them the way that you did. And
Well, the second I saw you and the energy that we exchanged when we first met, I instantly was just like, I love this girl. I love her energy. You're 100% a star. I knew that then. I was like, Alana is a star. And you have that same energy. It's like, I felt like you walk into the room and you just lit it up, you know? And I just instantly was gravitated to that. And it also worked out at that time, right? One of my roommates was moving out. My really good friend had to leave.
Yes.
And I was like, I have a spot open in my place. You moved in.
I moved in.
And that was really the start of a incredible friendship and creative journey together because I mean, we would both wake up. Just imagine, you can see our energy together. Just imagine we waking up at like 7 a.m. like high on life. We didn't have a cup of coffee, nothing. We were already like singing, like
living in East Flatbush in the hood. Okay,
like giving
we didn't even have on our stove. I remember we didn't even have the numbers like for the degrees to cook.
You just figure it out.
You just guessed. We would sing in the closet. You remember we put a microphone in the closet.
We were recording in the closet.
We would record in the closet. Like we did what we could with what we had.
Yeah,
and
it was just, and even that first like project together that we did, it was Can't Stop the Feeling. That was the first.
No, it was like I'm Gonna Lose You. The Meghan Trainor
first, and then Can't Stop the Feeling. Yeah. But that was just even that. Like that came together so organically. We were just like, we're gonna shoot a cover, we're gonna record it. let's do this. You were game. I was game. We got in the studio. And then it just kind of started building from there. And then we did the other one, Can't Stop the Feeling. We got all of these people, dancers, kids, to dance in the music video.
So volunteer their time.
Everybody volunteered. We had no money.
We had no
budget to be like, we can pay. And everyone was just like, I'm down to be a part of it. And then we said that from the beginning. It's like, listen, we just want to create this together.
Right.
If you want to be a part of it, we'd love to have you. We wish we could pay you, but we can't right now.
Right.
And people were just so excited to be a part of something creative. And I think that energy is so special, you know? And
it is.
And those are some of the coolest moments for us, like living together and just doing all that and just waking up high on life every day.
Waking up and just singing in the living room.
And then we got a job together.
Yes. Then we did work together.
Then we worked together. Yep. So.
Okay, so let's go back a little bit to, because we did Can't Stop the Feeling.
Yep.
Basically as like a send-off for you because you were going to Korea.
Yeah, so actually, that was the summer right before I was leaving. And long story short, the K-pop chapter in New York grew way bigger than we ever expected.
Right.
Because we were the first to kind of do something that was like this, and it was a bit controversial. It garnered a lot of attention and interest, and we had an opportunity to move to Korea to release a single, which we thought we were going for 3 months, turned into 2 years. And Can't Stop the Feeling was that like, just that send-off project that we did. And I was like, I'll be back in 3 months. Remember?
Right, I do remember.
And I even, was even subletting the place still because I was like, I'm coming back. And then 2 years later, I was still in Korea. And that was just kind of, that was a whole other adventure, a whole other wild experience that like still to this day, I'm so just grateful for.
And just to like tie it in the bow about the EXP thing, essentially the thesis was, can a non-Korean K-pop group be accepted? Right? Wasn't that essentially like the thesis?
That was definitely like a theme underneath the project. But I think it was really just supposed to be this documentary showing how K-pop, even though there's so many facets to K-pop, the dancing, the fashion, the music, the culture, all of these things. And when you take a non-Korean performer and immerse them into this world, sort of what happens, and also the way that gender is expressed, right, from east to west. And it's like, how do people receive it? Right. And I think that was a really just interesting experience to be a part of because some people were like, this is really cool. Some people were like, is this cultural appropriation? Some Korean people were really excited about it because it was something new and refreshing. And it was also watching foreigners export their culture and music in a very respectful way. We were learning Korean.
Yes.
As you know.
Yes.
We signed with a Korean, we had a Korean entertainment company. We had a full Korean team. I mean, we went through all of the things to really respectfully immerse ourselves into the culture.
Can you say something in Korean for us?
안녕하세요. 저는 프랭키입니다. 반갑습니다.
Yes! Yes! They did that. I remember. Look. I remember him being on his apps learning the Korean when we were living together.
What is he saying? What is he saying in there? Yeah.
I mean, I respected it, I respected it. Like, you were somebody that you were like, oh, I have to learn Korean? I'll figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, there was not obstacles were opportunities for you. You've always been that type of person.
Yeah, and I think that was I wanted, this opportunity was so cool and so different in every way. And it was challenging me as an artist and as an individual, and that was exciting. And that, for me, I never in a million years thought I would end up in a K-pop group, would move to Korea and learn Korean. Like, you told me that, I would say you're crazy.
Right.
But I think that's the cool thing about being an artist and being open, because we are here to tell stories. We are here to inspire people. We're here to share our gifts with the world. And it can come in a package so different than you ever imagined it. It's whether or not you're willing to embrace it or run from it.
Right.
And I'm so glad that I embraced it. It was so rewarding in so many ways. And I would not be where I am today if it wasn't for that experience.
1,000%.
Yeah.
It was incredible to witness. I was definitely sad when the 3 months turned into 2 years. But I was also so incredibly happy and proud of you. During that time. I missed the shit out of you.
Yeah,
likewise. I really, really did. I'm like, damn, like, who else am I going to do this with, But
and I remember you were on the start of
Too grown. Yeah.
Which also was like, started off as this little idea of just like, I'm thinking this thing where like bouncing ideas off of them, like you should totally do that. That makes total sense for you, for your brand.
Yeah.
Like, and it just like watching that, evolve was so incredible, especially from me being there in Korea, watching you evolve there here in New York. It just was like, wow. And that power is really, really special.
Thank you. And it's crazy because we totally reverse engineered that. Like, we didn't have scripts.
No.
We shot a trailer, rather, of like little vignettes of things. And we were like, let's just throw this out there and see if people respond to it. And everybody was like, oh my God, this looks hilarious. I can't wait to watch. And we were like, we better write some scripts.
Okay.
we better actually do this. You know what I mean?
And then before you know it, BT was knocking on your door.
Right.
And that is the amazing part of a little idea that, grows into something so much bigger that you can never even predict. You're just kind of like, really? Is that going to happen? And then fast forward. Even now, here we are sitting on the set of your podcast.
I know.
Okay.
Shout out to Marv and Bravery Studios. Okay. Hey y'all, it's your girl Alana J, and I'm here to tell you about all the magic that is happening at Bravery Studios, New Jersey's #1 podcast recording studio. At Bravery Studios, you handle all the talking and they do the rest. That's it. Seriously, all you have to do is show up and shine. Yes, honey, work. With 3 different filming locations, there's a perfect space for every type of podcast. From cozy chats to high-energy shows, Bravery has got you covered. But wait, there's more. Bravery Studios hosts monthly events and podcast gatherings, perfect for networking and connecting with fellow creators. So what are you waiting for? Head over to Bravery Studios and let's make some podcast magic together. Do it. Come on. You know you want to. You know you want to. Coming back from Korea, I don't know how many times I've seen you since you've been back. I feel like I can count on one hand.
Well, it's interesting because when I came back, you were living in, I think you were already in Baton Rouge, right? Or you?
No.
Not yet. You were.
I don't know where I was. When did you come back? When did you come back?
I came back in 2019, pretty much the start of 2019.
So I was in Jersey because just to tie things all up in a bow for the listeners, if they've listened to all the episodes, I talked about like moving back home to get sober, and that was that time.
Yeah.
Like that was from East Flatbush, where we formerly lived together, back to Jersey. And yeah, so that time of my life was like very much focused on like wellness and getting my shit together, if I'm being frank.
Yeah.
So no, I was definitely home during that time.
Which such a like another amazing thing to witness. Like from knowing you prior to seeing you now, like, I mean, and
girl, I was crazy. Do you remember when we worked New Year's? And
I remember.
I brought a bottle of E&J. We were drinking it on the train, and you were like, "Bitch, you better get it together." Like I remember.
I said, "Oh, she whipped out the E&J, child. It's about to get crazy up in here."
Shout out to 235th. Anyway,
yeah, I know, right? No, that was, but like that took a lot of power on your end to just be like to embrace on that journey of sobriety. And I know that was so important to you. And, here you are, like many years later, sober and just thriving. And that's incredible.
No E, no J, okay?
No,
okay.
We leaving them back there. And I think, we did see each other when I came back. Mm-hmm. And I was in New York for a brief moment, like a few months. And then I moved to Chicago.
Right.
And that was at the start of 2019. And I was just kind of like restarting. My partner was living in Chicago. Mm-hmm. We, had gotten back together, and I was like, I need a new start. I need to be in a new city, and this was a great moment to like reinvent myself and take a break from this wild adventure. And we also were renegotiating contracts. We weren't really sure what the next chapter looked like. Our visas were up for renewal and all that. Mm-hmm. And I think we went on a hiatus. Just it just kind of happened.
Yeah.
And then COVID. And so, and then during COVID, I wasn't really, I didn't really come back to New York, I think. So that's probably where we didn't really see each other, was for those, for that year or two. And then you moved to Baton Rouge, and then we reconnected in person, I would say, like last year at this time.
Yeah.
Christmas time. You had just moved back.
I did. I had just moved back from, I went from dirty Jersey to the dirty South, back to dirty Jersey. Everywhere I go, it'll be dirty. I don't know.
Oh, well, there you have it. That's all, folks.
And that's it.
But yeah, so I think that's when we reconnected. But we've always been, in touch and kind of, checking in with each other. And so it's really nice to, be here in person with you.
1,000%. And exchange that beautiful energy.
Amen.
So after EXP, what was that like mentally, psychologically, emotionally? What was that transition like, coming back and figuring out what you wanted to do?
Yeah, it was hard. It was really hard because I went from having this completely different life in Korea that we were like, performing, and it was our full-time job. And I really felt this sense of...
Dude, really quickly, I remember you telling me about your schedule. You were like, we have dance practice in the morning, and then we have voice lessons, and then we have Korean lessons, and then we have this, and then we have media training, and that, like...
It was intense. Like, it was very intense. That rigorous schedule, conditioned me in so many ways as a performer, that also gave me that confidence that I needed to be performing at that level. I mean, we did some really incredible things. We're performing on all these TV shows in Korea. We performed at the Winter Olympics, which was just like mind-blowing when I watched that video footage back. We were in Japan for like a whole summer doing all these shows. And I think just that rigorous schedule really prepared me. But when I got to the States and came back to the States, it was kind of like, you're going from, flying like a mile a minute to like, all of a sudden everything just stops, and it was a little unsettling, and I'm like, okay, what am I doing next? It kind of felt like I was starting at square one again. And so day one in Chicago, actually, that first week, I was like, nope, I'm signing with an agency. Like, so I went out, I auditioned for a couple agencies, and ended up signing with an agency like on the spot.
Amazing.
Had my audition. They were like, we would love to work with you. We have a contract waiting for you. And it was amazing. That was exciting. That gave me like that like energy of like, okay, here we go. And I was auditioning, booking some jobs here and there.
You did some films. I feel like I saw you.
I did a really cool short film that went on to win all these awards, all these film festivals.
You played like a psychiatrist in it?
Yep. It was a psychological thriller, and I played the psychiatrist in it. And that's actually...
Where can they watch that? Can we see it?
So it's for really great reasons, it's actually in the process of being developed into something bigger. And that's all I can really say on that right now. But
okay, we love a secret.
We love a secret.
we love
NDA,
mystery.
We
love a mystery. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and since that wasn't my creation, it was someone else's. It's just kind of like some really cool things happening in the works with that.
Amazing.
So it's
congratulations in advance to the whole team.
Thank you. Yeah. But I got to do that. That was really cool. And then I was kind of in this point where I was just a little burnt out. I was a little just kind of feeling a bit defeated, because I really felt like Korea and that experience was going to be the thing that catapulted me into the next, big thing. And it really, it did and it didn't. Not in the way that I imagined it would. And so I kind of felt like, okay, you know what? Maybe it's time I start building something separately aside from this. And
from the arts, from
entertainment, because that's basically what we've been doing, right, for the last almost 2 decades.
Dude, even if we're being honest, even waiting tables and stuff.
Oh my God, we were waiting tables so that we could do this. Like,
exactly,
we were working a million jobs so that we could do this.
Yes, but we're also entertainers as service workers to an extent. Like, you have to be on.
Yeah, and I think I was like, I was needing to reestablish a new relationship with music and acting. And so I was like, the best way to probably do that is maybe to take a step away. And so I decided to get into real estate. I had met a model on a gig that we were on together, and she had just moved to Chicago and for her boyfriend, and she was modeling and doing real estate. And she was like, it was the best decision I ever made. You should do it. Like, you have nothing to lose. And I grew up around real estate, so I knew it was always something that I could potentially get into. And I ended up taking the course. I passed my exam the week before lockdown for COVID.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, damn, what do I do now? Like I'm in this new city. I don't really know anyone. And I just got my real estate license, but now we're on lockdown. And I also was really hesitant because I think we briefly spoke about this in the car, but I was hesitant because I felt like I was throwing the towel in on my dreams. Pivoting to something new that was just like a completely different career. It just felt like I was giving up. And I really struggled with that. But, numerous people were just like, you don't have to put yourself in a box. And I think that's my biggest takeaway. You do not have to put yourself in a box. And
thanks, Mark. I was waiting for the thing.
And I think we put people in boxes.
Yes.
For us to like understand them or whatever. We put people in boxes. We don't have to put ourselves in a box. And I think my biggest takeaway now here, I've been doing real estate now for going on almost 5 years. And it's been the best decision I ever made. It really gave me like this stability that I was looking for and this just new way of thinking and connecting with people and being a part of people's journeys that is quite fulfilling. People buying their first homes or like moving into a new place because they're going through something major in their life, whether it's positive or negative. And I am the type of person who always sees like the bright side, right?
Yes,
so like bring that energy for someone else during a really chaotic time in their life, and it's really fulfilling. And then to see them come back after, my clients come back to me after and be like, you have no idea like how impactful that move and having you to help me get through that to where I am now and seeing how my life has like elevated. It's like fulfilling in a way that I just never thought about, never really, thought would be the case. So it kind of just took me in this whole other direction. And during COVID, everything was changing, right? The arts performance was shut down completely. So, for a lot of our artist friends who were going through it, it was really tough to watch. And, I had so much, empathy and
things were being put on hold for like years.
And it was scary. And I was just like, okay, I'm glad that I was able to sort of pivot, but at the same time, I was missing performing and I was missing, singing and all of that.
Ooh,
so
I don't think I've really spoken on the show about like that time during COVID, but to your point, like during lockdown in the beginning, at least the first like 6 months, I literally had the thought of like, there's a possibility that I might not be able to act anymore. Like, I was like, I might have to come to terms with the fact that like things may change in a way that is going to make it even more difficult than it already is to try to do this thing. And I would have those moments, right? And like, similar to you, like I dived all the way into personal training during COVID. Like that's what got me through lockdown, was impacting other people. Like some of my clients literally told me like, if it wasn't for you, like I don't know what I would have done during this time. Like you literally saved my life during this time. And, I mean, I have a big ego, so of course that felt great to hear.
You got a big ego.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, to thine own self be true. So obviously like that felt really good for me to hear. But yeah, that was a real sentiment of like, we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. And actually that just made me think of, I got this really great advice when I was doing I did Broadway Theater Project, which is like this training program when I was younger. And Abigail Spencer, the actress, she's awesome, incredible person as well. She told me I was at this point of like deciding if I was going to pursue the arts after college or have to finding like a real, job.
Right, because all the jobs get paid monopoly money. Okay.
And she said, she's like, when you are at a point in your life where you're just like, what do I do about me? What do I do about me? Take it out of you and put it onto other people. Ooh. How can you help others in this moment? Because sometimes we're so, especially like in this entertainment world, especially like in New York, it's all about like me and where I'm going and what I got to do and that grind and that hustle. And sometimes when we take it out of ourselves and put it onto others, like, okay, how can I help someone else? Or how can I, you know, have an impact that is not self-serving? You find the answer in a way that you didn't really think you would find it.
1,000%.
And so I think sometimes, and I think during COVID, back to what we were saying earlier, is that a lot of people were like, what am I gonna do? Like, what am I gonna do? But the thing that brought us all together is we were all kind of in this boat together.
Yeah.
You know, we weren't watching other people like, you know, get on stage because there was no stage to get on.
Right.
You know, so it was like, okay, we're all in this together.
Well, I did watch Hamilton on Disney Plus. That's the only thing I saw on stage.
Thank God. Thank God for that.
Because I wasn't going to see it regardless. Sorry, Lynn. Okay, I can't afford you.
and so yeah, so I think like in general, it just being able to pivot during that time was survival mode.
Yeah.
And we really didn't have much of a choice. Kudos to the artists who like, you know, stuck it through during that time and like just doubled down, getting creative with like TikTok and social media and like creating their own opportunities because now they're seeing the fruits of that labor, which is amazing.
1,000%. Like Z-Way, who we were talking about.
I know, right? Oh, it's so good to see.
From Instagram Live to Showtime. Yeah. You know, I mean, granted, you know, she was already writing and stuff for Showtime shows and whatnot, but nonetheless, like that. Her show that is now on Showtime, kind of that concept blew up because she took it to her platform, and she got like she was getting huge people on Instagram Live. I think she had Alyssa Milano on once.
She's brilliant. I mean,
she is brilliant. Shout out to Z-Way.
But the thing with
because I know she's watching.
Like, she is
from the one hilarious show we did together. I know she's watching. No.
I love that. But it's like, ultimately, it's just like really never giving up. I know as cliche as that sounds, it's like even through COVID and all of that, it's like you can pivot and you can do this and you can do that. But just knowing that even if you take a break and step away, you can always come back to it. And you can never giving up on the possibility of the opportunity. Like that is right there. Like once you give up and you really throw in the towel, then where do you go from there?
Right.
You know?
And at the end of the day, you're an actor no matter how frequently you act. You're an artist no matter... You could be practicing your art once a day or once a week or once a month or once a year. It doesn't change the fact that you are an artist.
Well, and this is, you know, hopefully this can be inspiring to other people, but there's always a story to tell and there's always a character of all ages and backgrounds to tell that story, whether it's through a play, whether it's through a film, whether it's through music. And that's why it's like when people think it's like, oh, it's too late, it's really never too late. We've seen how many like just stars have come out of the last 4 years of people who were literally like not known at all to like mega stardom like that because they're telling their story. And that's what people want to hear. People want to hear stories. They want to, you know, and that's where we find how to relate to others.
1,000%. 1,000%. And I will also just quickly say that I was just having this conversation with my cousin the other day that I am the type of person that my purpose is showing up for other people. You know, even with acting, you can't act. I mean, yeah, you could do a monologue by yourself, right? But as far as like creating a play or something like that, like you still need other people, you know, whether it's the audience. Sure. If there's no audience, there's, you know what I mean? You just look like a schizo. You know what I mean? Anyway, no, I'm just kidding. But nonetheless, being of service, right? Being of service. I am the type of person that I thrive when I am pouring into other people. And at the same time, as artists, we are service workers. Like what we do, yes, in a place like New York, everybody, because it is so oversaturated and everybody is fighting for the same two opportunities, you know, it can become very egocentric and ego-driven and self-centered. But at the end of the day, like when you show up on stage to sing, when I show up on stage to do stand-up comedy, when we've shown up on stage to be a part of a play, like we are being of service because we're taking the parts of ourselves and holding it up as a mirror to everyone else to see themselves, hopefully. So, you know, that's a conversation that I had to have with myself when I was in Louisiana, like constantly just acting, like full-time, kind of like your experience in Korea, just constantly acting, constantly doing stand-up. And I told one of my teachers, I was like, I feel so self-centered right now. Like everything is like, I'm exhausted. Mm-hmm. I'm exhausted obsessing over myself.
Yeah.
And he's like, Alana, you have to remember, like, we're here, like, remember that you're doing it for the audience.
Yeah.
It's for the audience. Like, you are using what you have and giving it. It is service work.
It's hard though, because you don't get that gratification with the audience until like it's been months or weeks of rehearsing and whatnot, and then
for a play,
all of the moments that it took, or even when shooting like a show or a film, like you do all of this, but the world doesn't get to see it maybe for a year or two, depending on what type of project you're working on. So it's a very like delayed gratification of audience.
Yes, for screen, for
you have
film,
that moment.
Yeah,
you're like, oh, that's right. This is the feel. This is the moment. This is what I do it for. This exchange of energy, whether you're singing like on stage in front of all these people, or a play, or when that that movie comes out and you can go see it with your friends. That's when it really registers. Of like, okay, the impact.
That makes sense.
Shout out to Curtis.
hey. But
I love it. Ugh, I love you so much, Frankie.
I love you too. It's so good to like just do this and reconnect. And...
I know. I feel like we're in our living room in Flatbush. In East Flatbush, right? On the couch. You know what I mean?
We just need a siren in the background.
Yes, we need a siren. We need a gunshot, maybe. Oh my God! Do you remember? Was it when Michelle moved in? No. I think it was when Valerie's friend. What was her name? Pobrecita. What was her name?
Crystal.
Crystal.
Yes.
Hi, Crystal. Was it when Crystal moved in that day there was a shooting on our block, and you and I got home from work at 2:35?
I was so stressed out. I was like, these, and she was moving from Florida, from like Boca Raton, and was taking over the other room, and was like, "Is it safe? Like, what's the deal?"
Right.
And I'm like, "Listen, I've lived in this neighborhood for years. I've always lived with like hot females. They had no issues, and like not promise you. You just got to be aware. You're still in a city. Anything can happen.
Right.
Just be aware. But we have had no issues." Day one.
Tell
me why.
The day she moved in.
She arrives out of her Uber, and there's, kid you not, like 100 cop cars on our block, helicopters.
Yes,
because there was just a shooting at a barbecue, and they were trying to find the two guys who were on the run, and her eyes were bulging out her head like, bruh. That was wild. That was wild. Alana and I are looking at each other like, should we have some food? Like, let's go inside.
You want a drink, sis? We got some tequila. I remember us. We were coming home from work at 235th, and a couple of cops, I think because our block was closed off, because
they closed it off. Yeah.
And the cops were like, well, like, what are you guys doing here? And we were like, we live here. And they literally said to us, why do you live here? Like, they literally said, like, why? We were like, yo, we artists, we actors. Like, this is what we can afford.
Literally, and had that place for like 6 years, maybe.
Yeah.
And never had an issue.
Yeah.
Obviously, my experience is different than like yours as a woman, right? But
I never felt scared.
We never had any issues living there. It was great.
I never felt scared. And also, it was one of those. It's one of those things where, like, it's like the like young gang members who are, they're not trying to shoot civilians. You know what I mean? They're just trying to shoot each other, unfortunately, which, please don't do that. Yeah. Please stop. please.
What am I
about? But yeah, that, oh my God, that was absolutely comical in hindsight.
Yeah. Wild. Good story. Good story.
Definitely a good story. On that note, we got to wrap up our story.
Oh, well, we do have one other thing to mention.
We do have one other thing.
My new
Your
single.
song. Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. Let's talk about it.
Well, I think to basically wrap it up is that finally kind of, been doing real estate, and I'm on the other side where I'm like creatively feeling inspired again, and recently released a new song. It's called Birthday by Frankie DaPonte. It's on Spotify, iTunes, all of the above. You can, put on TikTok, Instagram, your reels, all of the above. So it's been really, really exciting again to like come back to my passion in a way that's like, I'm in control, and I'm doing it with the expectation of just like, it brings me joy. Yes. I hope it brings other people joy. There is no expectation of like how big it has to get or what I got to do to make it blow up. I think like in general, it's just really great and healthy to be in this place with music again. And it's again, a testament to what we were saying before, that sometimes you need to step away from what you're doing,
1000%,
to just, regroup.
Yeah.
And if you still really love it and you want to get back to it, it's always there to go back to. And here we are. And it just came out like last month, and it's been so incredible. So many people have been reaching out, and everybody's just like, yo, this is a bop.
It is a bop.
Go download it and stream it, and tag me. The cool thing, it's called Birthday. So everyone got a birthday every year.
That was smart.
If it don't blow up this year, maybe it'll blow up next year.
He was like, SEO.
Yeah,
this is for SEO. We're about to optimize this song.
Yeah, so that's been really cool. So I hope that, that can inspire anyone who's taking a break from, something that they love to regroup, because you can always go back to it.
1000%.
Here we are.
So get them streams up for Frankie's birthday, okay? It's sexy. I love it. His voice, you're going to love it.
Oh, I love it. Thank you.
All right, so my last two questions. Okay, the name of the show is Act Up, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to motivate other people to take some sort of action to elevate themselves. That's essentially what acting up is all about, okay? Like, she acting up, but in a good way. So what do you recommend people do to act up today?
Okay, so first I would say to just like do something that you've never done before. Because I think so often we're just like, like in our comfort zone. Get out of your comfort zone. That's why I love traveling so much, because you're especially to like, places where culture shock is so real, because it takes you out of your comfort zone. Yes. And when you're out of your comfort zone, you surprise yourself.
Oh my God,
and the most beautiful qualities come out of you that show you how strong you are, how incredible you can, be in connecting with others. And I think, so do it. Whether it's taking a trip, taking a solo trip, go travel somewhere, or just putting yourself in an environment that you are not comfortable in. Safety, of course, keeping that in mind. But like, you will surprise yourself, and you will get something out of that experience that's going to be like, wow, I think I just learned something new that is going to help me in this next thing I'm doing. So
1,000%. Let me tell you just really quickly, not to make it about me, even though I am. When I went to Bali by myself, that was the first time I was out of the continent.
I was so proud of you for that, by the way.
I had never been out of the continent. I had only been, at that point, to Canada and Mexico. I had only been in North America. That was my first time out of the continent. I went by myself. Low-key, I did do the trip out of spite. We'll talk about that offline. But when I came back, like, my sister-in-law was like, you came back different. Like, you were different. You were changed. And I was like, yeah, I was. Anyway, I was terrified. Let me tell you, like, it didn't really hit me until like the night before. I was like, holy shit, am I really about to go to the other side of the world by myself? But then I was like,
you can do it.
Yeah, but then it's like, wait, we have technology now too. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, my phone bill was crazy when I got back, but that's not the point. It was fine.
It's the most liberating thing you can do. I mean, you come back feeling like, you know what, I can do anything.
1,000%.
So I'm glad you took that trip.
Yes, thank you. Last question, and we gotta go.
Si, señorita.
If you were writing your memoir currently, what would you name this chapter of your life?
This chapter, Frankly, Frankie.
Oh!
Because you know what? I think this chapter right now for me has been all about like true like realignment with myself, self-love, any deep-rooted shame that I've ever encountered. It's kind of like releasing that and being the most authentic version of myself and unapologetically me. And that's why we talk about people pleasing. Like, I'm working on not being a people pleaser anymore and just kind of like choosing to beat to my own drums. So Frankly, Frankie.
Okay, stay tuned for his podcast coming soon, Frankly Frankie. That's a podcast title too. Okay, or his IG live series. I don't know, but we need to use that.
I like this.
We need to use that. Remember, we were supposed to do Boss Up with Alana, J, and Frankie. There is a Boss Up podcast. Okay. I saw it and I was like, wow, I had that idea first. Anyway, it's in my drive. I have notes. It's fine. Okay, where can we follow you? Where can we stay tuned to everything that you are up to?
Yes, you can follow me on Instagram at frankie.exp.edition. On TikTok, I'm trying to get my TikTok up. It's The Frankie Show. So, but yeah, you can follow me there. Shoot me a message. I love connecting with, new people and just, excited to share my journey.
Yes! So happy that we did this. I'm
I
so
love
grateful.
you. Thank you for
I love
having
you
me.
so
Oh my
much.
gosh, you're like, look at me on your show.
I love it so
cool.
much. I love you so much. I talk about you all the time.
I love
and,
you. Gatita.
Gatitas. That's my gatita. You got inside joke. Okay. Y'all know where I'm at. AlanaJ.tv. Act Up with AJ. Thank you so much. Please subscribe. Tell a friend. Share. Comment. I love when you do. Mwah. Besos. I hope you learned. I hope you laughed. And yeah, love you.
Yes.
Bye.